as a result of Bill Clinton not showing up for his lawful subpoena, which again was voted on unanimously by the committee in a bipartisan manner, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress. Yeah.
Former President Bill Clinton has defied a House Oversight Committee subpoena, calling on him to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. And his wife, Hillary Clinton, plans to do the same. Now, as you just heard in that video, committee chair James Comer is essentially threatening to hold them both in contempt of Congress. I'm really curious how this is gonna play out. Before we get to it, Cenk, your 2 cents.
Yeah, so sorry, Clintons, but you gotta go in. A subpoena is a subpoena. That's what we said about Steve Bannon. That's what we said about Navarro. And I think that there is a much better way to handle this, which is what I'll share with you after Anna gives you the facts.
Now, Bill Clinton was scheduled to appear before the House Oversight Committee earlier today. And Hillary Clinton is supposed to testify tomorrow, but that is unlikely to happen. Here is James Comer explaining why the former president was asked to appear in the first place.
Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. I've been in Congress 9 years. I think I've been to the White House 9 times in 9 years. Epstein was in the White House double the amount of time that I was under one president. And then we know that Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's plane somewhere around 27 times after the presidency. So no one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. We just have questions, and that's why the Democrats voted along with Republicans to subpoena Bill Clinton.
I think subpoenaing the Clintons is totally okay. I have no problem with it whatsoever. However, I do have a problem with turning the Epstein cover-up into some sort of partisan issue, because it's not a partisan issue. This is very much a bipartisan issue. And it's been obvious that President Donald Trump has engaged very aggressively in the cover-up, is not currently complying with the order to release the Epstein files, something that Congress voted in favor of. And so are you gonna subpoena the president? Unlikely, unlikely. Are you gonna subpoena any of the Republican names that are tied to Jeffrey Epstein? Unlikely. Hopefully, Comer and the House Oversight Committee will surprise me, but I doubt it. Now, in a letter to James Comer sent hours before the deadline, attorneys for the Clintons said their clients would not be complying. So Comer did get a warning. The letter claims both Clintons have already provided all the information they have regarding the late Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. The attorneys called the episode nothing more than a ploy to attempt to embarrass political rivals, as President Trump has directed. They also brushed off threats of legal action, arguing that because the subpoenas issued to the Clintons are not related to a valid legislative purpose, the subpoenas are therefore invalid and legally unenforceable. I'm not buying that argument. Who knows? I could be wrong. I mean, we have to kind of see how this all plays out, but the House Oversight Committee voted on this. So they're claiming that they're investigating the Epstein files and cover up. They're just assuming that that's not taking place, and they're using that as justification to refuse to comply with the subpoena. Now, in addition to the lawyer's letter, Bill and Hillary also released their own letter to James Comer, in which they tried to act like they're martyrs. So this is what they wrote. Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time. Wait, now is that time? Weren't you president for like 8 years? Anyway, the Clintons also accused Comer of being on the cusp of bringing Congress to a halt to pursue a rarely used process literally designed to result in our imprisonment, while criticizing Trump's immigration crackdown, his use of the Justice Department as a weapon against his enemies, and even Republicans' opposition to extending healthcare subsidies. Now, unsurprisingly, Comer was not swayed by the arguments made in the letter sent by the Clintons. Shortly after Bill Clinton bucked the subpoena by not appearing in court or appearing before the House Oversight Committee, Comer announced that a vote to hold him in contempt would be scheduled to take place during next week's committee. A similar vote could be scheduled on behalf of Hillary Clinton as well, assuming that she does not appear in court tomorrow or Wednesday as she's scheduled to do. And look, there is precedent for this. So Trump allies Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro actually spent time in prison after being held in contempt of Congress for refusing to testify, for defying a subpoena. But Donald Trump also fought to avoid a subpoena back in 2022. Between his first and second terms, he was compelled to testify in front of the House Oversight or the House Committee investigating the January 6th riots. But Trump's lawyers argued that legal precedent shielded an ex-president from being ordered to appear before Congress, and the committee ultimately withdrew its subpoena. So today, Jon Stewart called out both the Justice Department and the Clintons. Let's take a look.
Do you think that they should comply?
I absolutely do. But why should they comply if the Department of Justice is not complying with releasing the files? Like, is compliance a kind of specialized individual indigenous opportunity, or should it be universal? I mean, the Department of Justice has subpoenaed them to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein case while not complying with releasing the files. So how does that comport in any? But do I personally think they should comply? Absolutely. Absolutely. And if they've got something to hide or nefarious, like, yes, we should know about all this. This is bonkers how long this is going on.
2026 just started, and like a lot of us, I've got some big personal goals. Here at TYT, we believe in changing the world for the better. But to do that, I'm gonna need the right team of people to make it happen. Let's be real, sometimes it can be hard to find the right people who are that good at what they do. It's like if you're hiring for your business, how do you find the best people for all the different roles on your team? Well, it turns out it's actually kind of easy because of ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/TYT. It's a great offer. Their matching technology works fast, so you find top talent without wasting any time. You can instantly see how many qualified candidates are in your area and reach them directly. That's why ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site. Let ZipRecruiter help you find the best people for all of your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com/TYT. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/TYT. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Perfectly stated. I agree entirely with what we just heard from Jon Stewart. Everyone's a bad guy in this case because everyone is trying to skirt justice. And it is absolutely true that Trump is trying to make the Epstein files a partisan issue when in reality it's not. Cenk, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as usual, we agree with Jon Stewart, or Jon Stewart agrees with us. So that's gonna get to my solution in a second. But first, 2 things can be true at the same time. It could be a political ask, but you should comply with a subpoena anyway, because it's your legal duty to. And the Clintons could be targeted for political reasons, but could still be guilty. And guilty of what, we don't know. That's part of the point here. And I don't think it's fair to include Hillary Clinton in that. It's more Bill Clinton in this case. And so if it's, and by the way, I get why they're more animated than others. Have they been the target of a lot of right-wing smears? Of course they have, right? And so, and they said that they did something wrong in a real estate deal in Whitewater. And then it turns out after this giant fishing expedition, look into that real estate deal, Ken Starr came out and said, yeah, he didn't do anything wrong with the real estate deal at all. It was a total sham that we invented to investigate him, but we found out he had sex with the wrong person. Ha ha, we got him. So I get why they're reluctant to participate in that kind of sham again, but a subpoena is a subpoena, and you can't say we should put Republicans like Steve Bannon and Navarro in jail for not following a subpoena, but we should have a different rule for Democrats. No way. right? And so then how do you make this work? How do you get to the right result here? If I was the Clintons, I mean, it's extraordinary to ask the former president to do this. I don't think the former president should be above the law in any way, shape, or form, but historically it is considered unprecedented. And by the way, if they want presidents to go in front of the Congress, is Trump going to testify? Because Trump's in there way more than Bill Clinton is, right? So now they're not gonna get that, but they could ask for something that they might be able to get. For example, everyone who is implicated to testify and be held to the same subpoena as they are. And not based on politics, not, oh, we only want the Democrats. No, Democrats, Republicans, whoever it might be. And then the former president should be the last to testify, but he should guarantee that he is going to testify. So that's a proposed solution that they could make. Or they could do the one that Jon Stewart mentioned. Oh, as soon as the Department of Justice complies with the law, and releases everything like they're supposed to, then we'd be happy to come in and testify. And then when you make it, Anna, it's such a big public challenge in a sense, then it puts the onus back on Comer and the Republicans. Well, why are you only asking Democrats to testify? Why aren't you asking everybody else to testify? Why hasn't the Department of Justice released these files? And is that fair to have it be so uneven, right? But if it's fair, they should all go and testify. I would love to hear it, and it should all be public.
You know, as provocative and somewhat salacious as this story is, I'm a little bit bored because I totally agree with you. There's really no point of disagreement here. You're right, it is being investigated unfairly in a very partisan way. And yet again, we have a situation in which the American people are not being granted the transparency that was promised to them. And even worse, we're dealing with a situation where politicians are treating this as if it's some sort of hot potato partisan issue that they can use to smear the other side and skirt justice for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. So first and foremost, that's the biggest issue. The fact that, again, we have a situation where this is handled in a way that ensures that justice will not be served.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.